when you look at the breadth of programming that we produce, we are very much committed to serving all of America. We are interested in having different perspectives that we bring forward. But when I look at the range of our programmings on public broadcasting, I can't make any sense of an argument that we are somehow biased in any way.
Huh. As Congress moves closer to defunding PBS, the president of the Public Broadcasting Service can't seem to wrap her head around why anybody would think their content is partisan. Let's bring in political commentator and walkaway spokesperson Natalie Beisner, along with former LA GOP vice chair, Daily Wire actor Siaka Massaquoi. Thank you both for coming on. Natalie, to you first. You might have heard the soundbite, I'm sure you did, where you've got the PBS president that just cannot figure out what in the world is talking about with this bias nonsense with PBS. And NPR and the rest.
Yeah, that's an absurd statement to make. Obviously, she can understand that argument. Otherwise, she's not very bright. I mean, right now on PBS Kids' website, they have an article about how your baby is racist because as young as 3 months, he can determine different racial features. And so you'd best talk to him so that he's not anti-racist. They push the lie of white privilege. Sesame Street just went viral last month for tweeting about Pride Month, which Democrats like that bias, so they ignore it. But that's bias. That's bias towards a certain group of people.
That's right.
We shouldn't be funding it. It doesn't speak to the majority of America. And if you can't see that, like I said, you're either stupid or a liar.
But it's interesting, Siaka, because the New York Times is now arguing that if you defund PBS and NPR, it is akin to defunding the police. They say, the following, quoting here, we are reminded of the excesses of the defund the police and abolish ICE movements on the other side of the ideological spectrum. They adopted a fatalistic view of vital government services, suggesting their imperfections justified their elimination. They were wrong, and so are conservatives who want to defund public media. The argument has so many holes, I don't know where to begin, but I'll let you start, Siaka.
I mean, man, if they didn't have contradictions, what else would the left have? These guys are insane when it comes down to how they move. It's okay to defund the police and have people in these poor areas experience even more crime. But with their agenda, their propaganda coming from PBS, like was just mentioned about the, showing up the pride flag. I remember watching Sesame Street. We learned about letters and numbers, not about colors and what sexual orientation people were about. So to them, it is as important as certain areas losing cops and losing the ability to defend themselves, because now they can't sell us the propaganda anymore through like kids' eyes. That's what they want to do, and now they just lost that, so they have to, of course, fear bong, and they have to panic button. They hit the panic button over and over.
Yeah, you got to push the goods. You got to keep pushing the goods. Meantime, CNN claims that some illegal immigrants at Alligator Alcatraz have no criminal charges against them. Here it is. Watch.
Hundreds of immigrants with no criminal charges in the United States are being held at Alligator Alcatraz, according to an investigation by the Miami Herald and the Tampa Bay Times, which obtained records about the migrants being held there.
The key phrase in there was the United States, as Newsbusters and many others have come forth and said, listen, criminal charges these people have in their own countries did some very bad, some very dangerous things in their own countries, Natalie, and so that needs to be pointed out.
Yes, many of them have charges in their own countries, including murder. But listen, we all know that Obama is the deporter-in-chief, but when it comes down to it, when you look at his numbers, according to the New York Times, 2/3 of the people he deported did not have a criminal record, or they had minor infractions like traffic violations. Only 23% of those he deported actually had a criminal record. And he actually reversed a Bush-era policy where Bush would just deport people if they had minor infractions like traffic violations. He wouldn't charge them. Obama would go so far as to charge and deport them, which then made them not able to re-enter the country. You know, so everything that's happening now has happened in the past. If you weren't angry then, you're being manipulated. And if you want to avoid Alligator Alcatraz, just self-deport. I mean, it's pretty simple.
It's amazing to me, and this is kind of off topic here, Siaka, but it's amazing to me that we're going to show some numbers later that Natalie's got spot on, where Trump right now and where he is in deportations would have to get on the fast track if he was going to catch up to Barack Obama in 2013. Nobody said a word back then about the deporter-in-chief. Meantime, Gavin Newsom went on the Sean Ryan podcast, and Joe Rogan snuck in a question. Watch.
So this is from Joe Rogan.
Oh, God.
Who will be held accountable for mandating COVID-19 vaccines for children, which were unnecessary and ineffective?
I know everyone's a god genius now in hindsight. But at the time, none of us knew what we were up against, including the President of the United States, who I worked very closely with. There wasn't a Democratic governor in America that worked closer during the pandemic than I did with Donald Trump.
Oh, Siaka, you were in California at the time. They knew darn well what was going on. They wouldn't listen. And when they didn't like what they heard, they censored those people and they did their own thing. What are your thoughts on this?
Right. Hi, I'm one of them, Gavin. Welcome. I'm on your censorship list because we were stepping up, and with Natalie, we're out there in Beverly Hills just trying to keep things open, keep things free, and keep an awareness of what's going on. But this guy, I mean, he is beyond snake. Like, I can't even say the words here on Fox of how gross and disgusting Gavin Newsom is, while he tries to piggyback and kind of rub shoulders with Trump on one end, and then on the other end, even in the article and then on this interview, if you check out what he said, he was saying, well, in the beginning, we did just like everyone else in the beginning, but he fails to mention, oh, yeah, they kept going almost 2 years longer than anyone else, and how so many people lost their livelihood. And guess what? I'm one of those that left because of what was going on in the state, and thanks for raising the gas taxes again while people were going through a pandemic. Jeez.
Yeah.
This guy.
Siaka Massaquoi, Natalie Beisner, thank you both.